It's Sunday, the 4th of November 2018, and that means it's the final day of the UK theme park season 2018. And of course, we're sending it out with a bang here at Alton Towers for the ultimate Firework Spectacular, where I'm here on the lawn after an epic firework display last night. Of course, during 2018, the display ran on the Saturday night and also the Sunday night. And of course, with us being theme park worldwide and us loving pyrotechnics and fire and fireworks, we're here for both nights. Of course we are. We went to Drayton Manor. You might have seen the vlog from there, which was a fantastic display. And last night, I won't say too much about this one yet. We'll save that for later in the vlog. But I don't think you guys are going to be disappointed with what you'll see later on in the footage. Of course, some of you might have been here over the final weekend. What are your thoughts on the fireworks? Comment down below on this video. And yeah, just thought I'd show you a bit of the setup really, just from down here on the lawn. Of course, it's a very different style show this year in terms of the story. Again, I won't put any spoilers or anything yet in case you want to skip that until later on, you know what I mean? But yeah, in terms of the actual display itself, it's got a storyline, it's got actors, it's got a lot of fire, it's got a lot of pyrotechnics, and yeah, in terms of fireworks themselves, there's not a huge amount of fireworks compared to some years, but it's still absolutely awesome. And we'll be in place. Yesterday we waited from 2 o'clock on the rock at the bottom of Tower Street. We were hardcore yesterday. We got that spot just to get that epic view, because you've got to be in that certain place to get it, you know, full on. I know it sounds a bit sad to some people, but for me, you've got to be in that certain spot to get a fantastic view of the display. In terms of people, there's going to be lots of familiar faces here today, especially when we get up on the rock. It's always nice, everyone comes together for the fireworks, and especially on the final day. I thought I didn't want to do the vlog yesterday because it's not the true end of the season, whereas today, Sunday, the last day that these rides are going to be operating, and along with sharing the fireworks, I'll also talk a little bit about the park and how much it's recovered. Of course, it's been a few years now since the incidents on the Smiler. This year they've put in their first major new investment since that, and so sort of reflect a little bit on the past couple of years and how much has Alton Towers improved for this season. What haven't they enjoyed? What have they enjoyed? We'll talk all about that throughout the day. But yeah, in terms of the setup, let's just have a little look here on the lawn at what we can see for the fireworks. So this year the setup takes up pretty much all of the lawn. There's so many different truss pieces, stages, lighting. There's all sorts of stuff here on the lawn, and it looks awesome. We'll start off, that's the techie booth just over there, of course, where the majority of the show is actually controlled from. And yeah, you've got a truss just out here. On these ones, you've got the power cans, the flame machines on the top. All of these trusses that you see out here have got flame machines on top. And of course, you've got this stage just here in the middle, which you've got a couple of actors on, which form part of tonight's show, which is great. In terms of speaker setup, you've got a couple of speakers just here in the middle. There's one speaker at the back, which is great because we've not had one there for a few years, and it means anybody waiting on Tower Street gets to hear it properly from back there as well. And then of course, you've got another little truss on this side, and then of course the main setup down here at the front itself, where you've got the huge set of scaffolding in front, loads of moving heads. You've got like the crowd blinder lights on there, all sorts. And yet again, an actor actually goes on the top of that during the show. In terms of flame machines, you've got another 3 there, 3 on this side, one on top of the truss, 1 at the bottom there, and 1 on the right hand side. And yeah, in terms of big flames, you've got some big surprises that actually come from these like the orange little what would you call them, like a genie lift just there on the right hand side. What go up, very interesting how they lift up just before the show. And yeah, you've also got the big fire blast down in the lake as well, which is those. Hopefully now I've explained a little bit about it. When I put the footage in later on in this vlog of the fireworks, you get to think, oh, that's what Sean said earlier on, like the massive fire blast came from that, and all sorts. And of course you've got the main speakers itself, one just there, another in the middle, and one on that side with the subs underneath as well. That's a bit of a technical overview. I know a lot of people out there like the technical side to stuff. Obviously it's early Sunday morning now, all Jubilee fireworks who do the actual display themselves, they're on the other side of the lake there, putting all the pyrotechnics in. This guy here is obviously filling up some of the fluids ready for the flame machines. You know, it's fascinating stuff. So I said this year I'd explain a bit more about the technical side to the fireworks, because I don't normally, because obviously when I used to work here, I never used to really get to see all this setup and stuff and be able to bring you guys down and do a vlog, because I was too busy working up on the turnstiles. So it's nice to be able to come down here and show you a bit of the technical stuff really. But yeah, we'll go around, get on some rides, and of course share the highlights from the display tonight. But like I say, you'll be able to hopefully look back on that and think, oh yeah, Sean explained about where that came from and X, Y and Z. So yeah, it's going to be great. Bring it on. Now this is a bit of a rare one for me. Coming up to Nemesis in Forbidden Valley, normally this would be my last ride of the season at Alton Towers, because I come on here in the dark and send it off with a bang, and as much as Nemesis is still my favourite coaster at this park, listen to that roar. Oh my god, look at my hair. As much as it's my favourite coaster at the park, I still think that with it being the opening year of Wicker Man, we've got to go on that and try and get our last train of the night on Wicker Man tonight, and that's the plan. So we'll head down there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people trying to go for it. If we don't go on the last train of the season, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, this has been my last ride on Nemesis. Unless maybe get a little dark ride in later on, but I've done quite a few over Scarefest. Was here, what, 4 nights of Scarefest, so I had quite a few night rides on Nemesis. But yeah, may as well go for it. It's only a 15-minute queue. Bear in mind, Fireworks is a sellout weekend. I believe sellouts around 20,000 this year. They have lowered the capacity, so it doesn't actually seem too busy throughout the park, actually. But yeah, let's go and have a ride on Nemesis. There's Mr. Alex Crump, who's appeared today. He booked a ticket today and he's here.
Yeah. I made it, and I'm going on the Never 24th.
I'm just saying it's weird because normally this would be the last ride of the season here, and then like Wicker Man gets it this year.
It does. Wicker Man is getting it at 9 o'clock tonight. Well, probably half past midnight by the time we get there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like what time we actually get on. Last night I had a 180-minute queue. Not a ride close, it was advertised, I think it was just 100 minutes at ride close. Just 100, not too bad. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's on at the end. And we might get to ride Wicker Man at some ridiculous time at night. But yeah, it's going to have a ride on Old Nemi. Just to make you aware, if you didn't know, the merge point is now open.
Started telling you the merge point's open
for the last time this season. So it's an awesome ride there on Nemesis, most likely my last ride on that wonderful B&M inverted coaster of 2018. Just making our way up to have a look at, see if we've got any progress on the Alton Towers dungeon. Whilst on our way up there, just thought I'd show you a little bit of the setup going on here from the team at Jubilee Fireworks. Have a little zoom in just there. As you can see, a lot of the fireworks are launched here, but also a lot of them are launched behind the towers as well. I know for sure last year they brought them out on trucks, and I think it's the same this year, where they actually wheel them out before the display and it's all pre-set up on the top. But it's quite interesting seeing it, because obviously gone are the days of Alex having to run around with a match and light them, you know. Can you imagine? You know, and run off.
No, that's the finale.
Yeah, gone are the days of that. Like, they've got all these launchers, and if I zoom in just on this box down here.
Gone are the days of me running.
Oh, you see that? You got the orange box down there with all the yellow cabling coming out of it. Of course, they just attach onto each firework, and then of course the launch off. You can see the different angles they're going to go from there. It's so easy, isn't it? Like,
don't give it your day job, David Attenborough, trying to direct the fireworks.
You know, well, I've always said that I'd show a bit more the technical setup of this, because I've not been able to do a vlog from fireworks for years when we work in here. So it's just nice to be able to show the viewers all this setup going on, and yeah, it's quite chilled out. Just having a sandwich there, putting the fireworks in, and you can see there's the special delivery. Look at all that pyro over there in the back of that van. Oh yes. Now, of course, the Alton Towers dungeon coming in 2019. We're very much looking forward to seeing what it brings. I mean, they've got all these characters up around the park on the posters, and there's 5 different dungeon characters to have photos with. We've said this before in the Scarefest vlog, but does that have any relevance? Does it mean there's only going to be 5 scenes, or is it just 5 photos to have around the park? It's one of those, but in terms of the area itself, of course, it's still not confirmed where it's going, but there's very strong rumours, and when I say very strong, I mean like 99.99% strong, that it's going to be going in the building for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But obviously, a dungeon doesn't really fit with this whole area of Cloud Cuckoo Land. So what's going to be done? I mean, I thought we'd walk around this way just so I can get some footage of it, because anything's possible, really. Next year, this whole area could be closed off. I mean, maybe they could move the Frog Hopper and Galloper's Carousel and move them a bit further round. Anything can happen. It's a shame because this area of the park, when I was a kid, it was the land of make-believe when I was growing up, and like it was a magical part of the park. And obviously now you've got things like the old Wobble World just closed up. Of course, you've got House of Monsters in there for 2 weeks of the year, but it's a shame because this area used to be alive. I'd walk down here with my parents and you'd have the Cadbury's Chocolate House down there at the bottom. I even remember when Beastie used to be up here. Like, it's crazy. And of course, going back before that, I mean, I never got to ride it, but my parents did. The Alton Mouse, which was a huge roller coaster located down that path round to the back. It's a huge area, and I think it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, a couple of years back, Twirling Toadstool was removed. So yeah, I just thought we'd come through and have a walk through, because I don't know any more than you guys, but you know, anything's possible. It just seems strange how keeping this area open just for the sake of 2 rides here, what can be moved. Maybe they could put a fence up over there and just so you can access the driving school from around next to Hex, and then all this could be closed off. I mean, anything's possible.
And also with having Burger Kitchen just down the bottom, which kind of symbolises the end just before the Skyride of Cloud Cookie Land, if, you know, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's building just become the dungeon, how are they going to incorporate that into that area? Because it is going to be its own little cluster down there. It's going to be very, very interesting. They're just going to cut it off here and leave it as, you know, an empty area, except the driving school at the back there. Who knows?
Anything's possible, but it wouldn't surprise me if we come in next year and maybe see a couple of these rides moved somewhere else in the park. I don't think they've removed them because it's extra capacity, but
it used to be just down there.
Yeah,
it was put here recently, but it was actually on Tower Street for one Christmas.
Yeah, it was. It can easily be moved, these rides, so it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe we might see them moved down to Adventureland, maybe next to Spinball or something. I mean, that would make more sense to me, because then you've got all the family, like kids attractions next to each other. So it means that if you've got little toddlers, you don't need to walk them up to this end, you know.
Another possibility.
Yeah.
A little bit closer, not too far out the way, in an area that really does only have Hex and woodcutters on there. It would just incorporate a bit more of a centrepiece to that, you know, with having some food units. Who knows?
Anything's possible. But yeah, let's have a little look down this way, see what's going on with the dungeon. Obviously, we can presume all this, no matter what, is going to be coming out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see how they do it all, I think.
I feel like it won't be long until we know more about the dungeon though.
Hopefully more is released soon, I hope so. Yeah, I know Krista's really excited because she loves all things scary as well, don't you? Yeah. I'll be a bit gutted if this goes though. This has been here since I was a kid. Like, honestly, there's a photo of me as a kid, like standing next to this when I was about this tall. And I'll be a bit sad if that goes, because it's so iconic. It used to light up and everything, that did. It used to be great. I remember when the Toyland Tours sign used to be attached on there. It's crazy, isn't it? Honestly, the memories. But yeah, let's see what happens with this area as we move forward. But yeah, of course, we know that the dungeon's going to be coming here. Let's have a little look and see if we can see anything from round by the Burger Kitchen. So it's really hard to see from over the fence just here, but we know that quite a few of the air gates and things have been removed, and well, Alex doesn't struggle to see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, he does. Like, when you know how tall Alex is, especially if you've seen him in person before, Alex is tall, so that shows just how high the fence just is. Yeah, can't see nothing. But yeah, we know that the air gates, if I lift the camera up a bit, you'll be able to see a little bit there. Yeah, so you can see that a bit of the stuff's been removed from inside. Obviously, we spoke about this before, but you've got the 2 actual lift that are in there, the lifts. Of course, you've got the boat ride, so much of the space. What's going to be done? Like, this facade here, like when it opened in 2006, it's a really impressive facade, but what are they going to do? Are they maybe going to turn it into some sort of abandoned factory or something?
I can see some black paint in there,
yeah.
That counts. There's a ton of black paint on the floor.
Is there?
Just after like...
Yeah. Be careful, yeah.
I'll have to jump that way.
You're falling over, you got to see the fireworks.
There's a ton of black paint on the floor, that's all I can see.
But yeah, it's just so odd, like Alex was saying,
stuff,
because
like,
you look at that, you can't have a horror theme there.
You can't hide it.
And then this, can you? Like, you can't have these flowers and stuff here.
No.
Unless maybe they're going to reroute, because the exit to the building's just there. They might reroute through, and then we said, imagine if you go into like a tavern or something.
Well, I said that would make a great tavern, like a blown up size.
Even just half of it.
Yeah, and you exit through there.
Yeah.
It's just the space, and the contrast in the buildings now is not great, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play that off.
Well, we'll be here next year, and we look forward to seeing it.
Whenever it's going to be.
We can assume it's going to open in March with the park.
We'd hope so, don't we?
I don't see why it's going to be any later than that.
First time in a long time, though, that enthusiasts have ran to Cloud Cuckoo Land on the opening day of the theme park season at Alton Towers. That's all I'll say.
I think it was Charlie's opening day, to be honest. 2006 when I last ran up here. God, that's crazy. How things have changed since then, eh?
What's coming next?
There was a McDonald's back then. Wow. Yeah, I used to sit in my car and out the horn, and there was one at the top there. there. Crazy. But yeah, to be honest, don't really plan on doing that many more rides because I'm going to get a spot shortly, ready for the fireworks. You might be thinking I'm mad, but we're going to go and get on the rock, the famous rock at the bottom of Towers Street. Not this one, sorry, the fireworks aren't on Burger Kitchen. Yeah, they're not on Burger Kitchen, sorry. Yeah, we're going to go and get a nice spot ready for the display this evening. You might be thinking, what, it's crazy. But honestly, when you stand on that rock, you'll see what we mean, because when you're standing on it, you get to see over everyone's heads, and it doesn't matter if people have got the light up swords, if they've got like kids on the shoulders and stuff, it doesn't matter when you're on there.
I'm going to get a McFlurry, I'll let you go.
Oh yeah, see you later.
Until tonight's ultimate Firework Spectacular. Not long now.
So after doing Wicker Man earlier on today, of course we made our way to our position to watch the ultimate Firework Spectacular just up here on the rocks at the bottom of Towers Street. To get this spot, you've got to be here quite early. We've been waiting here all afternoon, but it's well worth it because from here, quite hard to tell at the moment, but when you see the lighting and the fireworks on, you really get to see how you can just see over everyone's heads all the way down there to the setup at the front. Now, of course, as always, I did see it last night. I'll be able to share some highlights from this year's display. And yeah, there's some really impressive stuff in this. And afterwards, of course, I'll share my full thoughts on the show. But yeah, from up here, you get a good overview of the crowd. And like I said earlier on, all them flame machines and everything, when he showed you the setup, you really get to see it all come to life from this angle here on the rock. Just being a few feet above everyone up here really does make a big difference for this year's show. But here we go, just a few minutes to go, and I'll share some highlights of this year's 2018 Ultimate Firework Spectacular at Alton Towers Resort.
Come on, it's this way.
Are you sure it's this way?
Yes, I'm sure.
I'm freezing, we've been walking for hours.
Stop moaning. And you wouldn't be so cold if you just walk a bit faster.
We're lost, aren't we?
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Oh, camping is such a bad idea. I told you it would be. Who goes camping in November?
Everyone goes camping in November.
Right, where are we?
Okay, I don't know.
What? You don't know?
No, I don't know.
You mean we're stuck in a field, it's freezing cold, and it's pitch black, and you don't know where we are? This is ridiculous.
Well, it's very easy to find out where we are. Let's just have a look around. See, we're in Alton Towers. Wow.
Alton Towers? In the middle of the night, and no one's here.
This is so exciting.
This is kind of scary.
Come on, stop being such a wimp. Let's just go in and have a look.
I think we should go.
No, come on, this is so amazing. Let's go.
This is trespassing, we can't be
Come
here.
on, stop being such a wimp.
No, we have to go. What was that?
It wasn't me.
Oh, are you playing games again?
No, I swear, I didn't do anything.
I'm gonna stay calm, you're gonna stay calm, we're all gonna stay calm.
I'm perfectly calm, and you should be too.
Yes, I am.
Oh, hello there.
Who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? Well, I am Sir Algernon, creator of Alton Towers, curator and conductor of all things magical, wonderful, and thoroughly incredible. And it would seem as though you have awoken the park.
Awoken the park.
Yes, awoken it. There's more to this park than meets the eye. Well, think about it. All the laughter, the screams, the excitement, all of that energy combined has to go somewhere. This park has a life of its own, and it's just waiting to be unleashed.
This is incredible.
This is terrifying.
This will be spectacular. Now, are you in or are you out?
In.
Very well. Now let's begin. Well, it seems like we are ready. So let's get this show started.
Searching in the dark, so through the floor, and buried in your bones that you can't ignore.
First act. Incredible power, edge of your seat, nail-biting stuff. Have you got the nerve to keep your eyes peeled as our coasters take center stage? Hold on tight.
I feel sick. I am done. No more for me.
It's time for a change of tone, I think. Let's bring ourselves down and look to the sky. Our next act defies gravity, soaring through the sky with unparalleled grace. Have you ever seen such an impressive sight?
Could we maybe do something that's not quite as tall?
Oh, yes, I get it. Some people don't like the big, scary ones. No offense. Yes, others like to be spun silly, but maybe not looping the loop at 60 miles per hour. I've got just the act.
Fire and wood. Surely that can't be right.
You better believe it.
What is it?
No one knows where this next act came from. Some say it grew from the woods, emerging with a transfixed group of followers called the Bjorn.
It's drawing me in.
Be careful. When the Wicker Man has you, there's no escape. No burnt ends, but that's fortunate.
That was so awesome!
That was pretty amazing. Can we do it again?
Okay, but soon the park must rest to prepare itself for another day of escapism. Now let's see what we got left.
What about all the times you said you were the answer? We are problems that want to be solved. We are children that need to be left. You are the answer.
Wait, hold on, where'd he go?
Yeah, he was there just a minute ago.
You know what? Maybe we should get going.
Well, it is getting quite late, but it was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Come on, let's go. I think it's this way.
Are you sure?
There's only one way to find out.
That's what you said last time.
Moving on. Hey, you're still here. Go on then. One more. Just for you. For joining us for the Alton Towers Firework Spectacular. We hope you all enjoyed the show. Now please enjoy the rest of your evening here at the Alton Towers Resort. Good night.
So you've just seen highlights there from this year's Ultimate Firework Spectacular here on the last day of the season at Alton Towers. Now before I share my thoughts on the show, just thought I'd explain a little bit about what the plan is. So obviously we're here in the queue for Wicker Man. I followed this ride so much all the way through the construction, and of course today's the last day we're going to be able to ride it until the 2019 season. So we're hoping to be on one of the last trains of the day, if not the last train possibly, but we've made our way right to the back of the queue and got in just before ride close at 9 PM. Anyway, this year's fireworks, of course, I've seen every fireworks display here since the mid-1990s. I've been coming here since I was a kid with my parents. They brought me in the pushchair, and I remember seeing it. The show that I remember seeing first time really properly was 1998, the opening year of Oblivion. I remember sitting there looking at it all, and I do remember quite a bit from that. And every year I've not missed a show, and of course, as a lot of you know, I worked at Alton Towers for 7 years on the turnstiles, and part of that role meant that I wasn't able to watch the fireworks down on the lawn for quite a few years, but I still got to see the show from up by the turnstile. So it's one of those, isn't it? But I still got to see it. But this year it was amazing to actually be back on the rocks at the bottom of Towers Street and to see that show. Of course, I've loved working it, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes here, and I think sometimes some of the staff that are working these ridiculous long hours don't get enough credit, to be honest, because I know exactly what it's like. They work long hours, long days, and I think all the staff here really deserve a big pat on the back in what's been a very busy season. But yeah, in terms of watching the fireworks from the rock, it was great to be back on there and see it properly tonight, and all the hard work that's gone into it from the entertainment team and of course everyone else that's put the show together. Now, in terms of the display itself, for me, the fireworks has been very much one of two halves, because some bits of it I really enjoyed, like the Wicker Man section was absolutely incredible with all the fire around. You had 14 flame machines on the truss all on the lawn, and then of course you had, I think there were 6 down in the lake, and a couple on either side of the set as well, which was really good. Along with that, of course, the finale was great. I kind of missed Classic in the Hall of the Mountain King, but I know that it was in there in terms of a new remix of like the Wicker Man soundtrack that worked really well, and it was a very orange finale. I felt like some of the earlier seconds and the story of the show wasn't fantastic, to be honest. I feel like they've done better stories before, and there certainly didn't seem to be as many fireworks as some other years. But in terms of an overall production, no matter what year you watch it, you're never going to be disappointed, so to speak, because there's so many fireworks, there's so much going on, and I really feel like this year the focus was, of course, bringing it onto the lawn. Over the past few years, especially I think it was 4 years ago, where they had the towers, and of course they had all lights behind it and lit up the towers ruins. I do kind of feel like it's a bit of a shame that the iconic towers ruins, it is Alton Towers itself, isn't used more in the show. I mean, yes, it's lit up at various points, but we did see that more tonight than last night because there wasn't as much fog around. And yeah, I kind of wish that the actual ruins themselves were more of a more prominent in the show, more of a feature. But still, it kind of made up for it having all the extra lighting and everything on this side. Another thing I was a little bit disappointed with was there was no lasers in the show at all. Now, of course, it's one of those, we've had all that fire, which was brilliant, but I still would have liked a few lasers. I mean, Drayton Manor's lasers were brilliant what they had over the weekend. That was really good how they reflected on the lake. So yeah, I kind of missed having some lasers in there, but I must say in general, I felt like the lighting for the fireworks had improved quite a lot in terms of all the moving heads, like shine up into the sky and everything. That looked great, and there was a section right at the end, just before the big finale, where all the lights were going in sync, and it looked absolutely incredible. Yeah, the storyline itself, I'm not too keen. It's very bit controversial. I don't really like having the actors in the show too much. I feel like unless you've got that vantage point of being raised up a little bit, you can't really see the actors. So I kind of wish there was a video screen or a water screen or something instead of that. But still, they tried something different again. I think this was only, the second year now where they've tried having an actor role like that. The other was a few years ago with the Sir Algernon show. But yeah, I was expecting a bit more Wicker Man in it, especially with it being the new ride for this year. But still, it was a great show that I enjoyed. It doesn't go in there as one of my favourites one that they've ever done, but it's still certainly not one of the worst ones either. It's a show of two halves, like I say. But yeah, I still very much enjoyed it. And yeah, it was good to be able to see it as a guest on the lawns and not have the stress of having to get everybody out afterwards. And you know, I've been there and done that now, and that leads me on to talk a little bit about it, because I've not really spoke that much about it on the channel this year. But obviously I left working for Alton Towers back in the end of January this year, and since then it's been numerous visits up to the park, and I feel like my love for Alton Towers, after I've done that time working here now, I feel like my love for Alton Towers has come back a lot more after leaving the company. It was great, my time working here, and I really enjoyed it, and I thank the park for giving me the opportunities. But of course, for me, it feels like coming back here as a guest has been the right decision, and I think 2018 has been the right decision for that as well, with such an epic coaster. And I must say, Alton Towers has had its ups and downs over the past few years. It's been a few years now since the Smiler incident, and I feel like the parks finally this year has got them signs of recovery, and I think this is a fantastic start behind me. Of course, next year we've got a very controversial investment with the Alton Towers dungeon, but you know, it's at the end of the day, something's coming in. It's more than what we had in 2007, of course, Haunted Hollow, the Summon in the Dung Heap, and Extraordinary Golf. It's more, it's still an attraction, but it's going to take up some time, and yeah, I look forward to seeing how it's implemented. But I just really hope the park have got a long-term plan from here. Wicker Man's such a great investment. Let's see how the park's going to be in 5 years from now, shall we? This is an incredible ride. It's an experience, it's a good coaster, and it all comes together as a brilliant package ride for this park. So hopefully we can see more of this stuff from Merlin in the future. And yeah, there we go, that's my rambling done. But I enjoyed it. Alex is here, so let's see what Alex thinks to, to the fireworks.
Yeah, well, the fireworks, again, I second what you said. There was a few more sections I think I enjoyed than you did in that show, but I certainly enjoyed the same sections that you said about, you know, certainly the finale and the Wicker Man section were incredible. It's certainly the most panoramic fireworks display I've ever seen. You know, if you were stood on the centre of the launch, you have got a 360 view of that show, and it is spectacular, you know. Alton Towers have never done, I'd say, a poor display from what I've seen, certainly over the years since 2010. But I certainly feel that they have done better years than they have some of the others, including this year. I think it's up there with some of the better ones I've seen, though. It's just personally not my favourite. I'm still a big fan of the 2013 display.
It was a good display.
It was a great display, and you know, Alton Towers, with having Wicker Man, I thought I'd expect a little bit more from the Wicker Man side of things in the fireworks, but I'm glad that it did have a nice big feature, a central feature. And I do think that, you know, I met you from coming to Alton Towers as a guest and seeing you on the entrance.
It's an emotional part for us, it's a big connection with this park.
Everybody, whoever has appeared with you in videos and been on trips with you and seen things, this park has brought everybody together. And you know, to be stood here on the very last day of the 2018 season for the new roller coaster, it's special to me. I remember seeing that you got the very first train on Smiler back in 2013. I was like, wow, how jealous am I of him being on that ride? But don't worry, because one day I might get to sit next to him on a ride.
And we've got a much better ride than Smiler as well.
We have got a much better ride than Smiler. And look at all the rides me and you have done. We've been to 3 continents and seen so much. What more can we ask for?
Yeah, you know? I mean, there's a long way, it's following on from that, it's a long way to go until Alton Towers is back in the good old days, as I would say. But they're certainly making some of the right steps. Yeah, I'd like to see for next year, the staggered openings gone. I'd like to see the park open every day throughout the year. And yeah, some of these rides, things like Nemesis Subterra that have just stood there for quite a while, I'd like to see those back open really. But here we go, onwards and upwards. Here's to 2019 at Alton Towers, and let's just see how it goes from here. But anyway, let's send it out with a bang. Of course, we've had the ultimate fireworks tonight. Let's go and have this ride on Wicker Man, our final ride here of 2018 in the dark. And fair play to Alton Towers. I never thought that we'd be seeing a ride of this quality built in this park. All the flame effects, everything looks great. I just hope that in 5 years down the line, it doesn't look like the Smiler does today. Hopefully they keep on top of this coaster. And yeah, I don't want to be watching this vlog back in 5 years' time thinking, God, look how amazing Wicker Man looked, and now look at it. They need to keep on top of it, keep the flames burning, and of course, let's go and have this ride on Wicker Man. lucky enough there to get on the final train of the season on Wicker Man here at Alton Towers. What a fantastic ride it was too. Just an extended thank you to the team on Wicker Man for being fantastic this year. You've dealt with some breakdowns, you've dealt with reliability, and sometimes, of course, you've dealt with the queue line being really long, and you've all done a fantastic job on there this season. To be honest, I feel like Wicker Man has been one of the more reliable additions compared to previous ride installations here at Alton Towers. I think in terms of a first year, I'd say it's probably had a better year reliability wise than 13 when that opened in 2010, and also the Smiler as well when that opened. But yeah, there we go, walking up Tower Street for the final time this year. And yeah, it's been emotional. I can't believe the season has come to an end. It's come round so quick, to be honest, but it's been absolutely fantastic. And like I said in Wicker Man's queue, I really feel like the park is certainly making some good decisions at the moment, but there's still a long way to go with some things as well. But who knows, next time we walk down here, March 2019, another season of fun and thrills. And you know, I enjoyed my last ride when my voice is starting to go. That's what I always say. And yeah, we were all whooping and cheering, and it was brilliant. But there you go, thanks to Alton Towers for a great season. My first year of doing it as a guest all the way through for many years, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you for joining us here for another vlog here from Alton Towers, and we'll be back in 2019. But we'll come and do the dungeon and see everything else new. Of course, there's a stargazing pod, so I'll have a look around there, and any other changes we might have around the park. Thank you very much for watching, and that means it's time to cue those credits. See you soon.